Okay, so I'm back with another video, and in this one, I'm gonna try to explain things from a different perspective. A lot of the videos that I put out recently have been more so along the lines of gameplay that is unnatural from my perspective. But another one of the things that I've noticed alongside the gameplay that seems kind of off is the sequence of numbers. Um, and I know this is um, something that a lot of other people experience as well. And so I don't think it's too far. I don't think it's too far out of the ordinary to mention synchronicity and angel numbers. But I did a short a little while back where I showed what the cost for a certain amount of upgrades was, and I thought it was just kind of I thought it was interesting that at a certain point it cost 11,666 to get to get a certain level of upgrades. And if you look back at the short that I did, it stays that way for I think the next 2 to 3 upgrades. So in my eyes, I thought that was very deliberate on somebody's part to implement that in the game. Now, when I played on several other profiles, I couldn't replicate it. There was different costs depending on the position. But so I went back to playing with the shooting guard, and I also chose a slasher just to make sure that things were identical to what they were when I first encountered it. So I ended up with a different result when I tried it on a second profile. So as you can see on the second profile, the one I just started, the it's a slasher shooting guard. Um, 7 upgrades in is when it shows that it's when the number appears. Um, so on the previous screenshot, I was 7 upgrades in, and it was 11,666. On this second profile, 7 upgrades in, 7 upgrades selected. The number is now 11,900. Hey, I did a video where I showed just the upgrades amount for each one, but I could I don't want to bog the video down just trying to explain that. But oddly enough, when you subtract 900 from 666, you happen to get 234. Um, I'll show the significance of that here in a bit. But another thing that I want to point out is um, solfeggio frequencies. I happen to see that those numbers appear from time to time. So with 69 on the screen, I see that uh, I see that as resembling 639. That now on the previous profile, if you look on the left hand, if you look on the right hand corner, you can see that number appear after the attribute points have been allotted. So you see 639, which, like I say, in my opinion, is very deliberate. But another thing that I wanted to point out in terms of the numbers and the patterns is this. Now, I have 3 different profiles. Um, you happen to see the sequence of threes there, um, but it continues. Another thing of significance that I want to point out is the repetition of the 1 and the 3 and the 82. My my birthday happens to be August 2nd, which is why I have that jersey number. And it just so happens that in the midst of playing this game, my field goal percentage happened to match 82. I don't think that's by coincidence, which is why I took a recording of this in the first place. Um, Now, I thought it was kind of a lot of this stuff. Give a I can't give a really concise explanation as to why it happens. I just know that it happens, and it, regardless of what I'm doing, it continues to happen. So I could be playing a game, I could be out and about in the street, and sequences of numbers will appear without a doubt. Uh, but yeah, uh, on this at this point, I saw the 29, and then I saw the 92, and I thought that's like a reflection. They both um, reflect each other. So yeah, that's on one profile. On the second profile, you have the same thing. 28.8 steals per game, 2.8. Uh, like I said, a moment ago, 29, 92. They're a reflection of each other, just as well as 28 and 82. And this really gets into this is getting into the conversation of gematria, which I admittedly can't really speak on a whole lot. Um, I'm aware that it appears in my life to a very large degree, and I know that um, it pretty much dictates much of what goes on in our world to a very large degree, whether we realize it or not. But I'm very much an adept in the science of it. So that's 2 games where I was playing the same team, and the numbers were very much reflective of each other. Now, on with the third one, it's you pretty much get the same thing. 21.1 is okay. Well, I say okay, but that's not really what I want to point out. At this point, I think it speaks for itself, more or less. 69.9, as well as the number that I mentioned earlier in the video, 234, which is what you get when you subtract 900 from 666. To add more um, evidence to or credence to what it is that I'm pointing out, at the end of that particular game, the number kind of shows up again at 69, 696. And if you go back to what I was talking about in the beginning, on the new profile that I created after putting in 7 points in and choosing another 7, choosing to upgrade 7. Well, after putting in 7 points, the amount of upgrades that you have left is 69. Uh, I know I said a lot, and I'm more than willing to try to explain it or make it a little bit easier to understand. But I wanted to try and get as much information as I could out in this video. Uh, but if you stuck it out through to the end, then thank you and take care.